Hey, I guess it's been a while since I put a video up on YouTube, and now I got something to tell a story about. Any of you all following my channel know that try not to get you all sick. I've been working on this old Baja boat. Well, I should say not working on this old Baja boat. I really haven't done much to this old boat in the last 3 weeks. Still haven't cut them stringers out. I am a procrastinator. I'm not sure when I'm going to get to that. Anyway, y'all know that I took that engine out of it. There's some of the old parts out of the engine. Well, I did manage to get the engine back from the machine shop, or I should say the block back, all machined up and ready to go, and I started assembling it. And have run into problem after problem. And that's what I want to talk to y'all about. Being cheapskate. I am a self-proclaimed cheapskate. I'm always looking for a good deal. See these head gaskets here? These are what you call a MLS head gasket. And if you're wanting to make some serious power with an engine and not go through the trouble of O-ringing a block, these are the kind of gaskets you want to run. Several companies make these kind of gaskets. Felpro, Cometic, and some other companies. And they are pretty pricey. Normally, $80 to $100 a piece aside for these MLS gaskets. And you see there's 3 pieces here. It's got a kind of a polymer plastic faced top and bottom gasket, and it's embossed around the fire ring and around the coolant passages. And in the center is a stainless steel layer in between them. Well, I'm a cheapskate. I didn't want to spend $80 aside. Well, first off, I did order a set of gaskets. They were listed on eBay. They were GM Performance Parts gaskets. They were listed as MLS. They showed up, and they were what you call a composition gasket. Just like old normal Felpro style gasket. They were just a GM part number. So I sent them back because they weren't an MLS like advertised, and they did give me my money back. Said sorry for misrepresenting what I was selling. Anyway, I found these on Amazon, and they are from a company called, I don't know if it's a company or not, but Vincos. There's the part number. For what I can tell, these are a Procomp gasket, probably made in China. They were cheap. I think I paid $53 for the set. It might even been less. I'm not for sure. But whether or not they're going to work, I'm not sure. And I'm kind of not sure if I even want to try. See, on these engines, you have a dowel pin. It's a location dowel for holding the head right where it needs to be and holding the gasket. If you see there, these, I had to really work to get these gaskets on, these pins. It's like the holes weren't punched in these at the right spot, both sides. Now I've had a head on this and just tightened down. I didn't torque it. I was just trying to do my piston to valve clearance. So I had a headset on here, had it just kind of snugged up, turned the engine over just to check my clearance on my valve to my piston. This one has been tightened down a little bit, and as you can tell, it's sitting kind of flat. Well, this is what they look like when you first wrestle them. I mean wrestle them. Finger cutting good time trying to get these gaskets stretched over these pins. And it's not that they're the right size, it's just that the holes don't have the correct distance. These pins are a little farther apart than the holes are. And I managed to wrestle it on there. I have to use a screwdriver and tap it down over this pin You see how warped and contorted that is? I really don't know if that's normal. I've never used MLS gaskets. Even when you pull them out of the package, they're all kind of wobbly gobbly. Don't kind of tend to want to sit flat. I don't know if that's a process of when they emboss them and stamp them that they just kind of tweak a little bit. But after putting it on the head and tightening the head down, it does tend to lay a little flatter. But I don't know, I'm going to have to do an update after I run these things. Tighten them down. Trying to see. I really don't know. It don't look like they're centered on the bores all that well. You see how it's relatively, I know it's hard to tell, it's relatively tight here. Got a little bit more of a gap on this side. They don't seem to just be very accurately punched. I don't know. I can't really give a review other than on these gaskets other than, man, they are a bitch to put on because of the locating pins. And I have other head gaskets, just regular old Felpro gaskets. You can see them there. I did pull them out of the bag and try them. They slip right on these pins. It ain't a pin problem, it's a gasket problem. Anyway, on down the road. I'm gonna go ahead and put these heads on here and see what happens. If I have a failure, well, I guess I'll do another video on those. Second problem I run into, a company called KMJ out of, I think they're based out of Iowa, Des Moines, Iowa, maybe. They have some, they sell good parts and they sell some cheap Chinese parts like Assault. I do have bought some Assault parts. This oil pan is a kind of a Mylodon knockoff that they sell. It's pretty cheap. I don't remember what I gave for it, 70 bucks or something. When I got that in the mail, something had bashed the oil plug, and this is not the plug that came with it. The plug that came in it was bashed into the pan, big old dent here, and I had to take it and beat it out. And in the process of beating it out and yanking on that old cheap plug that it came with, kind of deformed it. So that's actually a factory GM plug put into that pan after I managed to beat it straight. And it didn't fit quite the best. After I put it on the engine here, I ended up having to find some factory, I don't know, maybe I should turn this engine over so you can actually get a better look. There we go. There is some oil support rails in here. Now these are factory rails that came off of this engine. I had to cut them to make them fit. I had to grind and manipulate them to fit this pan. The reason I decided to go that is because without using that, the way this pan was made, and I'm using a one-piece gasket, but it was getting tight on the front and the back on these main seals and having a gap here, and it would tighten down, but it was really distorting this pan rail. And I found by using this factory pan rail support, it seemed to stay a little more straight, seemed to seal up. So that wasn't a perfect fit. And you're going to see a common theme here with what I'm telling you. That same company, KMJ, I bought this. This is a two-piece timing cover that I bought. And the reason I bought a two-piece timing cover, so if I ever tried to or decided to change camshafts, all I would have to do, if anybody knows Chevrolets, that in order to get the timing cover off, this is the timing cover, in order to get that off and change the cam, you have to drop the pan because the pan wraps around the lip of the timing cover. So I came across this doodad. This is a two-piece timing cover. That would bolts onto the front of the engine. And this covers it up. Well, the problem being, tightened it up, right there, refused to seal. It had been about a 1/16 of an inch gap right there. And that's with the gasket in place. That's the gasket. Would not close up and seal. So I ended up ripping that off, cleaning up the factory cover and throwing it on. And so another piece of Chinese junk. And I'm trying not to be racist or pound my American chest, but oh, and that's another thing. These dowel pins, these are the dowel locating pins. See how beat up those are? That is from trying to get them over these locating pins here. Had to beat them on too. And maybe I should have just drilled the holes out larger and slopped them up a little bit and maybe it'd fit. But I beat them on. Maybe that's the reason my gasket surface wasn't lining up or closing up. But anyway, I cleaned up the factory pan, slipped it right on, went right over the dowels, no problem. Fits fine, seals up fine, no gaps, no nothing, perfect. Okay, so there's a couple of things. Well, I wanted to run head studs on this engine. People don't give me grief over this Fram oil filter. I got some wicks on the shelf over there. This is just the oil filter I'm going to break the engine in on. Because it's only going to be on here for a few minutes, broke in, run a little bit, and then thrown away. It ain't going to be on there long term. I didn't want to put a $15 oil filter on it. I stick with the $4. Yeah, I know you're going to say that I'm being cheap again. Anyway, I wanted to run head studs on this instead of bolts because of the aluminum heads, and I plan on possibly running nitrous on this engine. So I wanted something a little tougher. And I looked at the ARP. Set of ARP head studs for this engine is about $170. And that's just a lot of money. So I started looking around what else is out there. And Procomp. Yeah, Procomp, the same company I think makes this head gasket, makes head studs. I looked up the reviews on them, and nothing bad. I couldn't find anything bad, at least at the time. Well, I guess I should focus on these studs, huh? Sorry. Yeah, if you've been watching my videos, you know I'm ill-prepared and a lousy cameraman. You'll be getting used to it by now, I reckon. But anyway, Procomp studs, and they're about $76. And they have a part number of 279-1001, Procomp catalog. So I look up that part number, look for a set of cheap ones. I'm just going to buy a set of cheap head studs and, you know, see how I get along. On Amazon, when I was looking, I come across these. Limicar. Hey. I noticed that description there. Small box Chevy head stud kit. Look at that part number there. 279-1001. Same as Procomp. Looked at the few reviews they had. They were all 4, 5-star reviews. This is what I got. Now, they don't look bad. They look like they're cold rolled threads. And I'm sorry. Try to. They even have the Allen head on one end to make pulling them out easier. Now, when you look at the nut, boy, I just need to find a. That's not grease on there. They're forged. I'm assuming all that, you see all the detail in them flats for the wrench. It's kind of funny looking. It ain't exactly smooth. I don't think they're cast nut, they're a forged nut. Anyway, I kind of, went off the reviews. They had some good reviews. Yes, it's small box Chevy. Heck. Well, you know what the price for these is? $53. You can find them right now on Amazon for $53. Look it up. You'll see them same reviews. I said, well, heck, I'll try them. I'll give them a shot. It's $120 cheaper than ARP. Ain't like I'm making 1,000 horsepower. These ought to get by. That'll be better than bolts, right? Well, if y'all been looking at this video and looking at these bolts and counting them, you see right now where I screwed up. I guess I can claim ignorance. Bolt count here. Short bolts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 4 medium bolts. All these long bolts. Anybody that knows small block Chevys, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 short bolts on one head. You immediately see the bolt counts wrong. These head stud kit is not for a small block Chevy. I don't know what it fits. You look up their applications on the Amazon site for these bolts. It lists all the small block Chevys from 1957 to 90 something. Well, as far as I know, all the small block Chevys, even LT1s, take the same bolts pretty much. Now, some of the aftermarket heads have a little bit longer bosses and you have to use a longer bolt. They're a little bit taller cast head, take a little bit taller bolt. But in general, they all have the same style of bolt, length of bolt. I've never had an LS engine, so I'm not sure. I'm speculating that maybe this is for an LS. But I tell you what it ain't for. It isn't for what it says it is. And I ordered these bolts, studs I should say, the stud kit about 4 months ago. So with that amount of time going by, I don't really have much recourse. So what did I end up doing? Spending the money, getting the right. Now this, look here, small block Chevy head stud kit. Now what do you want to bet? Good old USA. Proudly made in the USA. Let's open this box up. Man, pretty bad my razor blade's dull here. I need to get a camera stand. Actually, I need to get a camera. Oh, looky there. Another thing, these bolts, they came in this box in a bag, all together in one bag. No lube, no instructions, no torque specs, no nothing. It was these bolts, minus the thread sealer I put on them. Bolts, nuts, washers in one bag in this box. Came just like you see. Let's see how ARP does it. Look at here. You notice, I need this box if I ever want to return it. Let's see what we get for our money. Looky here. Tells you how strong they are, diameter. Oh, torque to 80 foot-pounds. 3 equal steps. Says everything you need. Directions. Look at here. Got some assembly lubricant. Bag of washers. Look at here. Look. These nuts. Look at all of these short studs. Now they are pretty close to the same length here. Let's see what we got here. Should be 16 of these short ones. You know, I ain't gonna bore you with all these details. I can tell already what we got in here. I'm gonna guarantee you this is gonna be the right set. Now I wanna open up one of these nuts and examine. Oh, awful look. Yeah, these got the Allen head. You're not supposed to tighten head studs up when you put them in a block. But supposed to be basically be just finger tight. You tighten it down as tight as you can get the finger and call her good. But heat cycle in the engine, they tend to tighten up themselves. Oh, look at that. These are just 6-point. Man, it's hard to focus. Oh, there we go. Looky there. Look at the quality of that compared to that. Look how rough. Look at the finish of that Chinese nut to what we can make. Granted, there is oil on it. Man, the camera has a hard time focusing on stuff that has a reflection. Another case, you get what you pay for. You know, I am learning the hard way, you know, and people have been watching this know I've scrimped out on a few things. These cylinder head castings, Chinese, and you know, when I set these cylinder heads on that engine block, which I have done, you know, those dowel pins, they fit. And maybe they fit here. Yeah, here. And they take a little working to get that head set down on there and pulled down tight. I don't know if you can tell. You could see where a little bit of aluminum has shaved off, barely. You can see that little bit of reflection in there. That's where a little bit of aluminum is shaved off, putting them heads on and off a couple of times. That's how tight that fit is. Not a perfect fit either. But I want to keep my fingers crossed. Anyway, I'll end this here. Word to the wise, you know, don't be a tight ass like me. You think you're saving a buck? Well, now, what am I going to do with these studs? They ain't good for nothing else. Figure out what they do fit. Maybe I'll sell them to somebody, but then I almost have a guilty conscience about selling something to somebody that I don't believe in myself. And after getting these and comparing these to what the USA can make, you know, I don't know. I think I'd have a hard time selling these to somebody even for the price that I paid for them. So conscience is bothering me about it. So I think I'm just going to go in the old bolt bin, and I don't know what I'll use them for. Something or other, sometime or another. But anyway, classic example of you get what you pay for. I'll let you guys go. Bye.